morning, my lovelies. Well, it's morning here, and welcome to this week's episode from Taff Rocks HQ. This week we're going to be having a look at using another stencil. I'll explain why in a minute, but before I do, if you can help us grow by hitting that little subscribe button and then the little notification bell, we'd really appreciate that. Thank you very much. So this week, I don't know if you can see this, we're going to be painting a flower using this stencil. Now the reason why I want to use a stencil is I want to show you, as the channel is growing and I'm growing in confidence, I want you to grow in confidence too, so which is why we started at the very basics and we're moving up. And I want you to see that, much like the rainbow rock, you can use stencils. There's no shame in using stencils. I use them quite a bit. So I want to show you what we're going to do with this one. As you can see, it's quite big. So I'm going to need a big rock to put it on. I'm going to be painting this with paint pens and acrylics. So you can choose both or just one. Paint pens for me are a little bit more convenient and easy, especially when I'm doing tutorials. So you're going to need your stencil. I'll put the link to this very one in the description box below. You're going to need a pencil, and because the rock is not completely flat, I know it might look like it, what I'm going to do is, when I've cut this out, I'm going to use some blue tack to stick it on my rock so it doesn't move around when I'm going around it with my pencil. I'll see you in a second when I've cut this out. So here it is all cut out. What I'm going to do now is use some blue tack to stick it to my rock and draw around it. What I'm also going to do today, which is quite exciting for me, is I also write tutorial books, and I'm hoping that some of the stills from this video can go into that book. I've written a couple. I think I'll put pictures of them there, so if you're interested in them, you can go and have a look. So I'm going to get my blue tack, stick this to the rock and draw around it. Okay, so let's draw around this. Awesome. What I'm also going to do is later on I'm going to cut the centerpiece out, because I'm going to need to do something different with that. But before I do, let's give this an undercoat. Now, because I'm going to be using some very pale colours on this, this is seriously rough. I'm going to go over this another couple of times until it's perfectly white, and then I will be back with you when it's completely dry and ready to go. Whilst I'm waiting for this to dry and for me to put another couple of coats on, I'm going to cut the centre out of my template here. Now I'm going to cut it smaller, and I'm going to try not to cut any of the leaves off. If you don't want to print your own templates, you can always draw them, you know, because sometimes it's easier to draw it when it's flat than it is to just try freehand on your rock. Now I'm not going to throw any of these pieces away, and you'll see why later on in the video. Alright, so I think that's dry. Yep, lovely. Now what I'm going to do is put my template back on, put the middle back in, hold that, take that off, and draw around the circle. and I'm going to bring the colour all the way down to the circle. I'm seriously considering doing each petal a totally different colour. Now I'm going to use paint pens only because it's easier and less messy for me whilst doing a tutorial, but you can use acrylics, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Try not to go into the middle, but if you do, hey, you can always put another undercoat on it. So let's get going. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do alternate ones, so then by the time I get back to this one it's going to be dry, so I'm not going to smudge anything. So far so good. Now probably on camera this looks fine, but I can see as I'm looking at it from here it's going to need second coats on all of these petals. So once I've done that I'll come back to you and then we'll think of a colour for this middle piece. I'll see you in just a second for you. So this is looking mighty fine so far. Now because this is a patchwork flower, you can, if you want to, if you like yours like this, you can skip to the next step. But I am now going to turn each of these petals into a bit of a patchwork thing. So let's get on and do this. I'm just going to wait for this to dry. Some of these are going to need a second time around, and there's a couple of bits that need touching up here. There's also this line here is in the wrong place for my liking, so I'm going to try and go over that and put another one in. And whilst I'm here, you would have noticed that every now and again I'm doing this with my pens. With paint pens you need to prime them to fill up the nib, otherwise they are very watery and they can dry out. So just give them a good shake, pump them on a piece of paper, and you're ready to go. Time now to colour this piece in, and then I'm going to go around and show you what else I'm going to do with it. This is why I said leave this bit until last, because if you've come over the line you now have the option to hide those pieces. So this is a cream colour. Hopefully it'll work. Let's get on and have a look. This middle piece is going to be a button, so it's not going to have any stitch marks around it. So I'm just going to go around the outside with a black pen. can't see it very well, but I'm going to leave that until it's dry and then finish off the button. I'm also going to try and zoom in now for the next piece, and you're going to watch me do some stitches. Okay, I'm just going to get on and do the rest of these, and we'll be right back to do some finishing touches. Go all the way around the whole flower now and give it a black outline. You can use whichever colour you like, but I'm going to use black. Fine little outline around each petal. I'm going to do the rest now and speed this up for you guys. Going to leave this completely dry, and then we're going to come in and do the middle, which is going to be a button. I'm now going to do another line inside here for the button. So we've now got the inside of the button ready. I'm going to put 4 button circles for the sewing thread to go through. And now I'm just going to add some stitches, which are just going to be straight lines from one hole to the next. It doesn't matter how many you do, I'm going to do quite a few, so it's going to look like it's well and truly sewn in there. Red was a good colour. I'm not so sure. I think I might add some blue as well. Doesn't matter that we can have 2 different colour ones, it's fine. Yeah, I don't think this red was dark enough, so I'm just going to add some blue. I like that better. And what I'm going to do as well now is I'm going to go around, not do another line, but I'm going to put just some dots here and about around the inside edges of both of these lines of the button. And I think it's done. I love this. I don't think I'll be able to leave this one go. I'm going to leave it dry off, spray it, and I'll be right back with you. So it's all nice and dry. It's been sprayed. And I like it too much. Do you want to see? Of course you want to see. Do. Look at that. I love it. I don't think I can share it. Anyway guys, that's all from me for this week. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. And we shall see you next week. Ciao for now.